Hi everyone, I just want to talk about using Laravel with a library called Sweetalert2 to help the validation aesthetics. If you've used Laravel a bit and you followed through the documentation, you may end up with validation that looks like this. So in this example, the name and the address field are required, and if I click on Submit, the errors will show up here. This is just a bootstrap div with the errors being repeated with a line break after each one. Let's take a look at that now. So again, at the top of our blade file, we have this conditional here. If there are errors, then we want to show them, looping through them all, and adding a line break at the end of each one. And it looks like we're just using Bootstrap to make that look with to add that look with the red background and red border. Okay, so if you want to use something like Sweetalert2, let's check that out. So here it is. Let's scroll up to the documentation here, and a typical browser alert is kind of ugly. It looks like this. You've seen it many times. Sweetalert2's is quite a bit nicer, and it also has a lot of other options. So if you're looking at things like callbacks, or you want to add HTML or change the button color or button text, there's a lot of options for those things. And if you want to use it, all you have to do is import a CSS file and a JavaScript file. So there are lots of options for that. I've used this service here called JSDeliver and grabbed the minified files here, and I've imported them, the CSS file at the top, and just below the jQuery import, I've added the JavaScript file for Sweetalert2 as well. So let's go back up to our errors div, and instead of showing this, we actually don't want to show this at all, but we're gonna need its content. So we can disable it like this. That'll hide it visually from the page, but will still allow us to copy it if we want to copy it and stick it in an alert. So I'm just going to give this an ID so we can easily copy this down below. And let's go to this open script tag here, and let's figure out what we want to do. Let's first grab the Sweetalert2 code we want. We can copy it right from here. I want the one that allows us to put in custom HTML though. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and paste it in here. So really quickly, let's get rid of this HTML title. We don't need that at all. We can just type in something like errors. And I know the type we want is not info. We want to have that red X at the top. So let's change that to error. Now we don't want to hard code our HTML in. We actually want to grab it from the page. And again, because I'm using jQuery, I can grab that ID I saved earlier. There it is. And use HTML to get its content. And when it comes to show close button or show cancel button, let's just leave the close button on there, and we don't need to have custom text at all. So this should work fine for our case. Let's see what this does. Let's refresh the page, and we didn't submit the form, and yet this came up. Well, that's because we're showing it 100% of the time. We don't want to do that. We only want to show this dialog when the page actually has errors. So one way you can do this is to set a variable. So we're going to have one called hasErrors, and let's open up our blade tags, and let's get access to that that variable, that list of errors that will be returned to the blade file, and let's get the count of them, or the number, the size of that list. If it is greater than 0, we want to set hasErrors to true, otherwise false. And don't forget your semicolon at the end. And we can just wrap all this in a conditional, and we will just paste it in there, clean this up a little bit, and there we go. So if we have any errors, and we're using the count method on the errors list, so if we have any errors, we're going to show this alert. And let's see what that looks like. So let's refresh the page again. This is good. We don't see anything, and I've got DevTools open on the right side. You can see that again, we don't have any errors. This is great. But if I click submit without filling anything in, we do have errors. And you can see over here, it says has errors equals true. And indeed, the Sweetalert2 pop-up came up and is now showing us the errors. So I hope this helps. I found this to be a great alternative to what I showed at first, just showing the errors at the top of the page, and I hope you like it.